What's going on, guys? I'm Screaminal, and today I want to show you how I use this rushing strategy that I kind of highlighted in my last video in multiplayer. So I'm kind of hoping that this video does kind of shed some light on how overpowered a rush can be in this game, and hopefully the devs can kind of look at this and see how they can balance it out. Maybe at the end of the video I can give a little bit of suggestions on what I think can be done. So let's get into it. Now what I do here is I build the factory right on the metal node. This way I get enough metal income after the engineer automatically takes that node to keep my metal income high enough to be able to build the Hermes and the orbital fabricator with that second engineer. And then once that factory is built, I just send a couple of Hermes directly over to the base. I just kind of queue it up and put the waypoint that way. So let's just watch that real quick.
Not enough metal.
So now it's only about a minute and 45 in, and I already have the ability to use that incursion. At this point I'm just waiting for my Hermes to get a little closer to the radioactive node, and then I'll be calling down that incursion force. Basically this player, even if they had decided to put down an orbital nullifier, they wouldn't have really had anything that could have stopped me, even if I dropped it a little bit further away from their base and just brought them in anyways. I think that this is just a little bit too overpowered of a strategy because of this, and just having two tier 2 units down on there really prevents them from doing anything productive once I drop those guys down there. At this point, honestly, I could probably say the game is over, and this guy is not going to have any chance of taking back that spot. So I'm going to go ahead and skip ahead and just kind of show you what happens after I drop those guys down and push into their base a little bit, kind of disrupt them a lot, and basically just focus on reinforcing those guys that were up at the front there. Now 10 minutes in, I'm able to completely reinforce these guys at will, and I've pretty much been able to start taking everything. And anytime that he's tried to push to even that first metal node or around anywhere, I've been able to stop him, whether it was a couple groups of brutes, a few rocket archers I think they're called. Didn't really matter what they put down and sent over to try to get around me. They had really no shot at destroying even one Zeus and the other tier 2, I'm not sure what it was, Artemis or something. So now I think it might be a good time to go over what he could have done to counter this. I understand he probably isn't the most experienced player because he didn't have a very good start off anyways, but at the same time I do think that this can be countered. But in order to counter this, you basically have to do the same thing every single game at the start on one of these small maps. So you would have to build the orbital nullifier to be able to counter it, and you would have to basically prepare to use the incursion yourself. I think that's really the only way to counter this, and if everybody's having to start that way, I think it kind of puts a damper on any of the choice that a player has to play the game, which I think Ashes really offers like players a very good choice in how to start, how to get to the middle of the game, and then obviously the strategy behind basically everything in this game. And so if players are having to basically spend the first 2 minutes doing the same thing every time, I think it really takes away from this game in general, and hopefully when the devs balance this out, hopefully in the next patch or moving forward in general, they can kind of take that into consideration and maybe change up the way that this works. So I think some possible easy ways to help balance this out would first be maybe have a time that you can't build the incursion right away, or if you use the incursion, it'll only drop units that you can already build yourself, and maybe you have to like choose the units, but at the same time, like, you have to be able to build those units specifically, because it really just screwed them up, as you could see, to have to try to defeat even, you know, that Zeus and stuff. So I think that might be like a fairly easy way to fix this. Otherwise, I could see possibly making it so you can't build the orbital fabricator right away, and maybe make it so you have to have the quantum generator first. I think that's kind of how the substrate works as well. So I think that might be a good balancing way to do it. But I'm sure the devs will, you know, have a better way to do it than I can think of. They know their game a lot better. But those might be two simple ways of doing it. But go ahead and leave some comments down below on what you think they can do to kind of help balance this out. But anyways, guys, my time's up. I'm Screaminal, and I'll see you guys later.